That's my bad, guys. I didn't mean to play it that many times. Welcome in. Happy Monday. It is your week. What are we at? Where are we at? We're at week 14 post-game show. I'm Jacob, joined by Mr. Eddie Mack. Eddie, how are you feeling today?
I'm better now. We're recording this on a Sunday, so, happy Monday when you see this. So earlier today, the Browns, did not win and go out with my 6-0 prediction with Watson. So I'm doing better now. At first, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is a game and this happened. We'll talk a little bit about what happens, but I'm doing better now. Now watching Sunday Night Football. Hopefully my fantasy teams can continue to do well, and I need Mike Williams to go off, or I'm going to look like an idiot for benching Donald Peoples-Jones today.
I got a little bit of a hard fantasy thing with Deebo Samuel going down, so he did make a few plays before he goes down, so he didn't give me 0 points.
He got a touchdown, I believe.
Yeah, he had a touchdown run on that first drive, and so you at least had that situation. I made the mistake today, this, of angering the Ohio State faithful.
Yes.
By putting out the fact that Denzel Ward has been awful, and I was told that by multiple people that I need to watch the games.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense, because if they were actually watching the games, then they'd see that Burnt Toast and Denzel Ward are the same thing. They're the same exact thing. And that could be for whatever reason. I even tweeted out maybe the Browns shop him in the offseason. Some people are like, oh, here we go, or something. And then like, oh, no, with his contract. I don't know about that. The contract could work itself out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look. We'd have to ask our friend Jack Duffin over at the OBR. He could tell us about the financials. We are presented by our great friends over at Homage. There's a link in the description down below. I don't have my Homage on right now. I'm actually wearing my Naruto Ichiraku ramen shirt, but the NFL Jam, Eddie, is wearing it over there. There's some really awesome hint, wink, wink stuff coming out from Homage here soon, and we'll be very happy to share that. Follow our link, check them out, get yourself geared up. Ohio State, Cavs, Guardians, Lakers, even if you want to do it like that. This thing, yeah. Boston, you can get some Red Sox stuff if you want to, just whatever you want to do. You can check it out. They're WWE. They got Office stuff. They got Elf stuff. They got everything, man.
Home Alone. They had these. I'm not a Grateful Dead fan, but if you're a Grateful Dead fan, they have these dope hoodies from all NBA teams with the Grateful Dead. They look sick. I'm not a fan of that or anything, but I would buy one of these just because they look cool.
I, honest to God, was looking at it the other day, and I thought about it too. And I'm not huge on the Grateful Dead either, but I was like, hey, it looks pretty good. So we'll go in there. So we'll start in here with our thoughts, man. We're just gonna go through this quick hitter on your Monday morning, maybe make you guys feel a little bit better. Let's start with Watson, man, because that's where it always is going to start. Where especially for the final 4 games, as I believe the playoff chances are gone. I mean, it could still happen.
They're not. Only the Broncos and Texans and someone else are mathematically eliminated.
Oh no, the Eagles got the playoffs. Sorry. Yeah, but
so as Myles Garrett said earlier, as long as the door is cracked, then they're not, giving up on the season yet, which I can respect that. But it's just one of those times that, okay, damn it, probably next season. But I did say last week that I won't give up hope. I did tweet out during the game that the season over when they got that flea flicker touchdown. I don't know if I fully believe that yet. Because next week is Baltimore, and they don't have Lamar. They might not have Tyler Huntley, so I forget what the dude's name is. Something Brown.
I don't know.
I forget who that is. Let me look it up. But anyway, yeah, Watson looked a lot better this week. I'll say that. A lot better. Looked like he was more calm. Last week, I'm sure there was a bunch of anxiety and nerves and all that type of thing. This week, he just looked like a football player. That doesn't mean that he played great at everything and did everything great, but he played pretty well for the most part. Did throw a pick, but also threw a touchdown. So I thought he was a lot better, and I think, obviously, over these next 4 games, we'll see him get to somewhat of his former form, but not until 2023 when he has the whole offseason to not have to worry about what's off the field. He can go through all of the camp, all of the preseason, all that stuff, and be the starter from week 1. But there was a lot of encouraging things.
You finally saw I thought last week that he's shown you some glimpses of what could be special, but in a lot of his scrambles last week, it also ended with like him throwing it in the dirt. And it's like what you said. I mean, you can't simulate true NFL pressure. You just can't. And that's what you could see last week. It was moving far too fast for him. And I even think that for a good chunk of the first half, that it was still felt like it was moving too fast for him. And then he kind of, but I mean, he still made plays. Like I look at that one play where he is being sacked and he throws it for 15 yards on a rope and it's caught. And you're just like, oh, okay. See, that is why the Browns think ultimately that all of this stuff is worth it. They think ultimately all of the off the field, the suspension, the losses that they took, and potentially the punting on 2022 in general, although I don't think they fully punted because they've played like they've wanted to win sometimes. But like you started to see it, and then like I think there was a run on 3rd and 10. I'm trying to remember when it was. I thought he was going to run out of bounds for a 5-yard gain, and then he tiptoes and steps back in, and he just walks past it. He gets the first down, and you're just kind of like, you can't do that with Jacoby Brissett. You can't do that with Baker Mayfield. You can't do that with most of these quarterbacks. And it was just a play that, by all accounts, shouldn't have been a first down. But the quarterback, whose offensive line was not very good again today, he looked more comfortable with an offensive line that struggled even more than they did last week, and they ran even less than they did last week effective-wise, and he was able to take a step forward. So I think overall, from a Deshaun Watson in the box situation, I think today was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it absolutely was. You know, in the first half, I think he only had 8 pass attempts, which that is just not going to cut it, especially when the running game was just not there. Normally, Nick Chubb owns the Bengals. His rush for over 100 in multiple games against them. Did not have it today. But there was 2 plays that Watson did the tiptoeing on the sideline that he went. There was one in the fourth quarter. I want to say the other one was in the third quarter. It could have been in the second, but I know in the fourth quarter for sure because that extended the drive. And then he threw a beautiful pass to DPJ and hit him right in the chest. Like, you can't throw a better ball than that. That one wasn't on him. That had nothing to do with Russ. That was a pretty ball thrown to him, and DPJ didn't go up at the high point and get it. Someone just tweeted, I think it was Jared Mueller. I think he tweeted that out right before we started doing this. But yeah, it's coming. It's not. I said, we talked last week that even this coming week, even now that he has a game under his belt, he's not going to be fully back. He might not be fully back until week 18 against the Steelers. And if that's the case, then the Browns knew what they were getting into. What really hurt the Browns was the suspension length. When that went from 6 originally to 11, that derailed a lot of things. Because then a lot of people are like, now it's the punting of the season. We're going to punt to 2023, which this has always been about 2023 and beyond. But there were several games, as we've always talked about, since those games, that the Browns should have and could have won. But should have, could have, would have does not win you in the NFL. You actually have to have more points at the end of the game. But yeah, the offensive line, like you said, was just not good again. And the center position, with Ethan Poaches going out, that has killed them over the past however many weeks that's been, like a month or so, or upwards of a month. And
I think he went down. I think he's missed 3 games, but he went down 4 games ago.
Right. So it's just been bad. I did say last week that David Njoku was the catalyst for the offensive line. He brings a toughness and a grittiness. I put that in a couple Dog Pound Daily articles. And I said it on my show too. And then I even messaged, Randy, our site editor. I was like, hey, look, the offensive line's playing a lot better, and there's Njoku playing, but then it just like everything went away. Like, Njoku wasn't involved as much until later in the game when he obviously scored the touchdown. Some very odd decision making, but if you go to Twitter, I'm sure there's half people are going to want Stefanski fired today.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know what else to say to them. One thing I do question, I get the misconception of the Jacoby Brissett coming in on 4th and 1. I get that because he's been relatively good at sneaking it for the first down. But if you're going to have him launch the ball like that, just have your $230 million quarterback do that, because not saying he would have made that throw either. Just let him do it, or just take the point.
But you would feel better if he missed it than the backup.
Yes, because what's the point of that? To me, in a sense, that I get, like I said, the misconception of, hey, we're going to run this. Here you go. Last week they did that, hand off to Harrison Bryant. And I thought they were going to do a fake to that, and then they didn't. And DPJ was open. It was just overthrown by, a few yards. I was like, why not just let Watson take that shot, or just
because Watson has the ability to scramble for the yard.
That too, because he could if he sees nothing's open, see ya. Because he didn't.
Well, they did it on a 4th and 1. They ran it with him later in the game.
Right. So I just didn't understand that. Like I did, but I didn't at the same time. Like it's not something like, oh, he needs to be fired to give AVP the play calling duties. No, nothing like that. Just everyone relax with that. But Watson did better, this week on the ground too. Last week I think he had 21 yards. This week he had 33. DPJ, I benched him in fantasy, of course, like an idiot. Because I was reading about how the Bengals they have better corners this year. I was like, all right, sweet.
Yep.
Here it goes. And that didn't, but he played a lot better today. Obviously Cooper was banged up with that hip injury, and you said it, I think, in the group chat, that is really showing, and that's really slowing the offense down. Like,
you could tell his route running, his cuts, they just weren't as sharp as they normally are. And it hindered them. So I want to wrap this quick hitting Monday post game show up and talk about the defense. I don't know what to say about some of these plays, and what I'm getting at is that Samaje Perine touchdown is the most embarrassing play I have ever seen a professional team. Period. I'm not just talking football. I'm not just talking Cleveland. I'm not talking any of that. A professional team's performance or want to or play, whatever you want to call it, on a singular play, that was the most embarrassing moment I've seen in my sports life in almost 32 years now. And to me, it was like with Clowney's thing, like he comes crashing down there and he kind of walks by him. I thought at least Clowney thought the guy was going down. So Clowney, I was like, okay, that was piss poor. But then the rest of them that could clearly see he didn't go down,
right,
we're not moving. I think Perrion Winfrey maybe, I think was the only one trying. Like there was one player, I can't remember who it was. One player was actually trying on the play. And then like 8 of them were standing around and that were just like, and I, of course, angered some people saying that Denzel Ward has been garbage this year. I contend that he continues to be garbage. Look out soon, probably in the next day or so. I'll be writing it up on you, and I will take on the Bucknuts. And some people are saying that they think they're just so sick and tired of playing for Joe Woods. And I'm like, that's a bullshit excuse. You are a professional. I have had bosses that I don't want to work for, and I go and do my job because I'm getting paid to do a damn job. You are getting paid millions of dollars, and you talk all this trash every single fucking week. You talk all this trash, like John Johnson, all these guys, they talk all this stuff about we're not over. We're going to go in there. When you play well, you're amazing. We're on top of the world. And then you go out there and you give up. It is inexcusable. That defense, coaching staff, players, overhaul, top to bottom for me.
Yeah. See, the thing with what you said about them not wanting to play for Woods, they played with them for 3 years now. It's not like, and the effort was like, it took a little bit last year. There was new pieces that came in. And then towards the end of the season, we're like, okay. And that's why a lot of people had hope that the defense would carry us this year and that Brissett just had to play mildly or a little bit better than what Baker Mayfield did last year. And here it was flipped where Jacoby played way better than what Baker produced in 2021, and the defense regressed as if they were Baker Mayfield themselves. It's like, and shout out to him, by the way, he had a great drive.
Yeah, good for Baker.
Yeah, but that's all I'm going to say about him. But we all came in thinking that, and all these players, like you hear all these people, oh, they don't like, he doesn't like Joe Woods. This player, how do you know that? You don't know that. You're not in the locker room. You're not in these meetings. I don't have sources. I don't think you have sources. I don't know. You might. Everyone has sources these days.
Really.
I don't have sources. I don't know what the hell's going on. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, they don't know. They don't want to play for him. They're just giving up for him. They're just giving up because there's a lot of prima donnas on the defense. And like you said, a complete overhaul. I would say maybe 3 players I would definitively keep next year. One being Myles Garrett, one being Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and the other that I would definitively keep, Martin Emerson.
I think you should do Greg Newsome too, but
Greg Newsome's in there too.
I think so.
If I don't know if Denzel Ward's problem is if he is a man corner playing in a zone scheme, or I think that's part of it. So maybe if there's a different, but he played so well last year.
That's what I just had. Exactly. I'm so glad that you said that, because I just had this conversation with somebody on the internet who was like, he is a man corner and he is continuously playing zone coverage. And I'm like, yes, but he excelled in this exact system for the last 2 years. And that's why he got that contract. And now this year he's tired of it. Okay, maybe he is tired of it. Then explain to me why he was so good the last 2 years. If it's just the system, why did he play good last year? And people say he doesn't want to be in this system. Then why did he re-sign to be in this system?
Right. And I get the money I get the money aspect of it. I get it. That's $100 million, $101 million.
But he could have got it somewhere else.
He would have got it anywhere else that, wanted to give him that money, but he wanted to stay in Cleveland. And there was a reason for that. Not because he hates Joe Woods, not because, he's trying to just, rob the Cleveland Browns blind, because there's ways to get rid of him. I don't think they will. Yeah, I don't know. But John Johnson, I don't care what anyone says. He's got to go. I wish they would have left him in Cincy, because he's always the one that's bitching about effort. Oh, we're not showing effort. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. And then he set the Jamar Chase touchdown. Yes, Ward got beat, but he was expecting help over the top, and he got that help, but not until after Chase had that. Chase didn't even know that ball was thrown until the ball was almost to him, and then he saw it and was like, oh, hey, you're not here. And John Johnson could have I don't know about easily. I don't want to say easily, because I can sit there and say that from my bed.
From my bed, yeah.
But it seemed like it was an easy play for John Johnson to make and, jump that route and take it to the house. But that was not. So I can't wait for him to be gone. I was so excited for him. He's one of the biggest disappointments that in my fandom, and especially since I've been able to write about the Browns a lot more over the past couple of years, the biggest disappointment from my fandom of someone that we have signed.
Absolutely. I think you're 100% right. I think that is a great place to end this post-game show, so we can enjoy this Dolphins-Chargers matchup, watch it the rest of the way through. Eddie, I appreciate you as always joining me, guys. It is Monday. We'll be back at you. The Barking Browns will be tomorrow on Tuesday. Monday today, Scarlet and Gray podcast. And the Yard Dogs go on before us. Eddie will be back on Wednesday. The Faithful Dogs will be back on Wednesday. I'll have another draft show up on Saturday. Thanks everybody that watched. Oh, the Dog Chuck. Yes, the Dog Chuck. One of my favorite shows. And I
if you have never seen that and you're watching this, Monday morning or Monday afternoon, whenever you're watching it, I implore you to go do that, because I was on a few weeks ago. One of the most fun shows, and it's just a different version of a podcast than you would get. It's like a sketch comedy show type deal. Yes. It's awesome. Check it out.
And they drink and talk a little bit about football. So, as I always say, man, the most valuable thing you can give people is some of your time. So thanks again for giving some of yours to us. We will see you guys again next time. And I guess, go Browns.
Go Browns.